Well, when you have that many turnovers, it's going to cut down on your three-point attempts. And then when you don't get the stops, they had two 30-point quarters, so you're not getting enough stops to play in transition where you can get threes. But I thought our offense was not organized tonight. We didn't run our stuff with purpose the way that we did the other day.
What do you feel like they've been able to do to effectively defend Chris the way that they have, especially in the last couple of games?
They're putting bigger guys on him. They're trying to pressure him in the backcourt, but again, we've seen all that before. We have different guys who can initiate offense. I didn't think we allowed other guys to initiate just to get Chris off the ball and then get him in a live ball situation.
You've mentioned 2 or 3 times in the playoffs that there's a lack of recognition of how desperate the other team is.
Yeah.
As a coach, how frustrating is that with a group that's been together, and how do you deal with it?
It's frustrating anytime you lose. You have to address it, and then you got to move on. You can't hold on to it because you're going to play the biggest game of your life in a matter of 48 hours. You know what I mean? Thankfully, we have a group of guys who understand it. They were talking about it before I even came in there. This situation has to be embraced. We work. That's why I'm a proponent of the regular season, because you work your tails off all year long to have home court, and it will pay off in this situation.
Monty, the cadence of the series has been every other day, and you get the extra day here. Does that help your group at all?
I think it will. We need to sit on this. We need to understand that team is a really good basketball team, and we also need to understand how good we are. But we're good because we play a certain way, and so I think the time in between games will allow for that.
Coach, you said how last year's playoffs showed that when they take Devin and Chris away, other guys they got to get shot. How are you feeling about how the other guys?
You look at Mikal only had 7 in 30 minutes. I thought DA was effective tonight. We didn't get Jay enough shots, But you look at how many possessions we gave him. We don't have enough possessions to create shots for everyone else. And that's something that we got to be a lot better in, and we will be when we step on the floor the next game.
Monty, to Ken's question, given the success you guys have in these kinds of game sixes in the last couple, does it surprise you at all that this time it would look this different?
I don't think you can keep comparing all that stuff. It doesn't matter. That's a different series, different games. You can't always say because this happened like this, it should happen this way. Every series and every game has its own identity. This one doesn't feel good because we didn't play well tonight. It doesn't matter what we did last year in a Game 6. It's our first time in a Game 7 with this group, and we have to embrace it. We get to go home and do it in front of our fans, and it'll be the first time that I think we can close out a series on our home floor. So we have to embrace that.
Coach, you said how you know this group, you know how they react to things like this. So I'm not asking you what your gut is because you got a couple days in between. But what did you sense from the locker room when you came out?
Just a realization that they played harder than us, and we typically, don't allow that. And then 2, we understand that we turned it over and we did not have the focus. Our concepts in our defensive coverages tonight was nowhere near average. They just kept going. They want to get to the paint, and you just saw them go down the paint a number of times tonight. So I sense with our group, we understand that we'll embrace it. All of us will own what we need to get better at, and we'll be better.
You handled the ball a lot with the 8 turnovers. Was that more what they were doing, or more was you being sped up? What do you attribute that?
You can credit a little bit of both. I would like to, obviously, I'm going to go back and look at it, and I have a better idea, but, just being a little careless, I clean it up.
When you look at this game overall, what's eating at you the most about how the game unfolded?
Just that we lost. Like I said, let the air clear and then watch what went on, and I'll have a better understanding. Right after a game, it's kind of hard to tell what happened and what we need to work on.
But what did you see in the second quarter specifically, offensively, that wasn't working for you guys?
Yeah, I think that's where it slipped for us. Just turnovers. I had 8, Chris had 5. That's not like us, and 22 as a team. So just giving them balls. I think they had 16 steals. So we just have to, not be so careless with the ball.
I can't remember the last time I saw you have one of those where you kind of get stuck in the air with it. What were they doing defensively to kind of throw you off?
That one was spacing. I know exactly what you're talking about. I should have shot that one though. But yeah, I have to go back and look at it.
Mindset over the next couple of days, it'll help your group to not only recognize how good your opponent is, but just remind yourselves like you guys are here for a reason. Has this performance by the Mavs stunned you at all in terms of because you guys looked so good in 3 of the games and not so good in the others?
Nah, we understand they're a good team. We would never disrespect our opponent in that way. They're a 4th seed in the Western Conference for a reason. They protect home well, and they did that today. I think we worked all season to have home court advantage and get the last game in our house, and that's exciting. It's Game 7, man. I ain't never been in a Game 7, so it's gonna be fun.
Look, when you look at the 3-point attempts, they took 21 more than you guys. Did you feel like you guys were running yourselves off the line a little bit, or what would you kind of attribute that to?
I mean, the ball was getting stolen. Probably a lot of those opportunities would have been threes. But if they're getting steals, and I think they scored 26, 29 points off of those steals, it's hard to get shots up. I think they got, I guess, one more shot than us total, but, we got to take care of the ball better.
You told us you envisioned, even when the team was losing, putting yourself in these playoff scenarios. I'm assuming Game 7s have been a part of
It's
that.
the greatest 2 words in sports. I've been watching them since a kid, and, in my short playoff stunts that I've had, I've never got the opportunity to be in one. So I'm excited to feel the energy. I'm excited, to be a part of it. It's a great opportunity.
I'm sure you would rather be closing this out though tonight.
Yeah, I would have rather swept them. I would have rather did that. Yeah.
That too, but just speaking of Game 7, which ones do you remember watching growing up?
Probably Miami, Spurs, finals Game 7, which is a whole different beast I could imagine. I have to go down the list. I watched Chris in a few of them. But probably that Miami Spurs one is the most memorable for me.
Monty said that he felt like there was a lack of recognition that the Mavericks would be as desperate as they were to play that way. Did you feel that? And if so, can you explain it?
A lack of desperation?
That you guys didn't recognize how desperate they
Oh,
were.
no. It's a closeout game, man. Everybody's going to give it their all. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
There were times, Devin, where they were, you were getting bumps and the ball was popping loose. How much of it is Game 7, okay, matching that part of it on the perimeter where you have the ball and they're giving a nudge and those type of things?
We'll see. Going in with the mindset, I'm not expecting any calls to go our way. We try to keep that mindset going into the game. I think you have to get into it and, fill it out. Every officiating crew is different. Every game's called differently. So, I think the first 2-3 minutes of the game, you'll be able to see what the tone is.
Yeah, the coach was saying he didn't feel like you guys fully understood how urgent they were going to be for this game. Did you sense early that was the case or no?
We were talking about it. It's just that everybody got to be locked in. You got to be a together thing where everybody's on the same page. And it wasn't like that tonight. There was a lot of mistakes. It felt like a regular season game, the amount of mistakes we had today. And the turnovers, terrible, unacceptable. And, yeah, it's that type of game where it's just unacceptable, man. Them dudes they wanted it more. I think after every loss we've had, they've shown that they wanted it more. And, yeah, we just wasn't the team that didn't want it. And it showed dramatically.
Is there, when you look at your game tonight, was there more left on the table you felt like you could have delivered in terms of numbers? You feel like
Most
you had? Okay.
Most definitely. But it was so tough because them dudes them dudes put a lot of pressure to where we weren't getting into our offense. We was getting so many turnovers. I mean, I think they was on the fast break almost every other time down, and I could have left more. I could have put more into the game to where it's like crashing and scoring and not missing those easy bunnies under the rim. But at the same time, we was discombobulated on the offensive end, and we weren't communicating on the defensive end at all.
What will it mean to you as a professional basketball player to play in a Game 7?
Well, it means a lot. To finally have that, that grit to where, not to say I don't have the grit or the team doesn't have the grit, but knowing that this could be the last game, and the only time I've had that feeling was, last year in the finals, and we're just gonna have to accept it and embrace that there is a Game 7 in Phoenix, and we're gonna have to bring it in. There's no room for mistakes in this one at all.
DA, with things like turnovers and three-point shooting that you really cleaned up last game that came back to hurt you in this game, is it frustrating, or is it just the ebbs and flows of a playoff series that kind of go from time to time?
It was. I can tell you this: we did not play the same game that we played Game 5. I think throughout this whole series, we haven't played the same game in a row. Like there's never a time where we tried to play the same way. It was a different game every time, and this was a perfect example. We picked up on everything we were supposed to do, Game 5, and we were locked in. But the mistakes we had tonight was just off the charts. The communication, and we just wasn't talking.
Now that you've played the Mavs like 6 times over the last 2 weeks, do you feel like if we do XXX on Sunday, we can win?
Yes, sir.
What are those things?
Communicating, not turning over the ball. Just those right there. Communicating, not turning over the ball. I think the defense, we done pick up the effort to where, we have to play defense or we have to keep the ball in front of us. So I'm not really worried about that. But when it comes to communicating to your brother, we didn't have that today, and it showed, man. And the Mavs just exposed it in a way to where they kept coming.
DA, you guys are a team that stews on the losses, and Monty's called you guys sore losers. With that extra day leading up to a Game 7, how much more do you kind of sit on this? And
Well, we're going to have to sit on this 2 days. We don't play this Sunday, so we're going to have a lot to think about, talk about, rest up, and, try to close this thing out in the Valley. But it ain't going to be easy, man. I mean, it's already hard, so we shouldn't make this any harder on ourselves. We just got to get back and do what we do best. Simple as that.
Chris, clearly you played in a good share of game 7, and I know it's a couple of days away, but what's the mindset you feel like guys gotta have after a game like this going into the
It's a win or go home. You know what I mean? It's, I feel like we worked as hard as we did all season, you know what I mean, to get home court. Just because you have home court doesn't guarantee you're going to win the game, you know what I mean? But we'd rather play at home than play here. So.
The turnovers, 22, you had 29 points, Devin had 8, you had 5. Was this more of what Dallas was doing defensively?
Probably a combination of both, we both, I don't think we probably had a game all season where it's both, combined for that many turnovers. But we'll look at the film, see what we got to do better. You know what I mean? I think that's the only saving grace in this situation is we get to go back home.
But you've had bigger guys guard you. Of course, this is anything new. Is Bullock and are they doing something in regards to how they're defending you that's leading to the turnover?
I got to go back and look at it. I don't know. I lost one off a dribble, threw one in DA. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What do you make of the personality of this series so far? That it's been such major swings from whatever arena the games are in.
Been in it before, seen it. You know what I mean? The best thing about all these playoff games is you don't carry a 20-point lead into the next game. You know what I mean? Each game is personality of his own, and now it's down to one game, Game 7.
Just to follow up on the Game 7, Dwayne mentioned you played in 7 of them in your career. Anything that quickly flash memory of when you think back to your Game 7s?
Nah, if I sat here and tried to remember all of them, I probably could, but I'm trying to get home.
Chris, did you impart any kind of message to the guys after the game going into this thing, saying that you do have experience in Game 7s?
No. Honestly, no. I don't like to be that dramatic, you know what I mean? We got a couple days, finally, you know what I mean? Finally not playing every other day, you know what I mean? We got a couple days to let this sit and let this marinate, and we'll talk, man. But at the end of the day, it's basketball. It's not life-threatening or anything like that, so guys will get ready, and we'll be ready for Sunday.
Chris, with the amount of long ball turnovers, can you describe how hard it is to play on your back foot like that throughout the
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I've always said turnovers like interceptions, you know, so when we turn the ball over, they get in transition threes. Once again, the other guys got going, and we didn't see that movie before.
Chris, it looked like you were bringing your hand out on the way out. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm cool.
And with that extra day, I know you guys like to bounce back from losses and stew on those. With that
We'll take the extra day, trust me. You know what I mean? That other series got, 3 days? Trust me, we'll take the extra day.